Good morning, everybody. This is Breaking Ish, and today's topic is Jack Smith is coming at Donald Trump from all sides. And I, for one, am all for it. So, welcome. If you are new to my channel, please like, subscribe, and share if you think what you are seeing is worthwhile. And you are welcome to leave any sort of comments and critiques. I welcome them. Be nice about it though. I mean, if you're really mean about it, I just probably won't respond. But today's topic is Jack Smith's move to impanel another grand jury in Florida about the Mar-a-Lago documents case. And as Professor Lawrence Tribe said on Twitter just a little while ago, one of the reasons why that grand jury was impaneled in Florida is possibly to preempt Donald Trump's attorneys from moving to dismiss the case because it was filed in the wrong place, meaning improper venue, uh, if he would have filed in DC. But I believe that we don't know for sure, but the assessment is that the Mar-a-Lago documents case now has uh, two working grand juries, one in DC and one in Florida. So, and we are likely to see indictments on the Mar-a-Lago documents before the January 6th indictments based on the insurrection and the planning of it. Uh, However, because Jack Smith has recently been successful at uh, getting Mark Meadows to testify, it brings up a lot of conjecture and a lot of questions. One of the first questions I had was, did Donald give up on his executive privilege claims of the White House staff who were being compelled to testify? Or is that still going on and uh, Meadows has just voluntarily decided to cooperate, or decided to cooperate because of an agreement with the DOJ? Whether he wants to be a cooperating witness uh, or have immunity, those specifics, if you want to learn about them, you can go to Glenn Kirshner's channel, and he explains this bit very clearly about, how exactly Mark Meadows may be working with the DOJ. Because I don't think that at this point it would be worth Jack Smith's time to have somebody on the stand who would just go on, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth. I don't believe that to be the case. Mike Pence also testified in the grand jury investigating January 6th. And, you know, we know that those two are witnesses and people who were closest to Donald Trump, uh, one officially and the other one as a de facto. The official next in line for the presidency was Mike Pence, and the responsibility of him overseeing the electoral vote count fell on him, and the pressure Donald Trump applied was on him. And Donald Trump used Mark Meadows as the seditious switchboard operator to be able to liaison his communications with the people outside of the ambit of the White House, not like Pat Cipollone or um, other lawyers within the White House. Uh, and that grand jury is ongoing in DC. So it's difficult to tell which one, but we see that Jack Smith is making, substantial progress in uh, both of the cases. And, in American jurisprudence, imminent means anything from now to 3 weeks. So if experts say it's imminent, don't expect it tomorrow. Give it a few weeks and see what happens. Uh, Now I want to switch angles a little bit and go to the seditious conspiracy convictions. I believe that the DOJ has been working up, the lowest level seditionists to the higher level seditionists. So since Stuart Rhodes has been sentenced now to 18 years in prison, and I believe Enrique will be sentenced at the end of summer, I can't imagine Enrique's sentence being lesser than Stewart's because Enrique has a criminal record and Stuart Rhodes didn't. And also because Enrique, the last crime that Enrique committed was in DC. I don't know about his criminal record before that, but it was the burning of the flag at the of the hangings at the African American church, the historically black church. So after these two convictions by DOJ, the next in line in communication of the many tacit understandings that Donald would go to the Capitol, or that they can bring their weapons. There wouldn't be how they're not here. Donald Trump said, "Let them in. They're not here to hurt me." When talking about his supporters in weapons, how is it that Donald knew that? Why was he not surprised by it? Why did he say they're not here to hurt me? He would have said they're not here to hurt us if he wasn't being pointed about it, but he was being pointed about it. It was about him. And those plannings were made and a lot of things were set into motion. And it culminated into a seditious conspiracy. So the next step up would be the group that is the Friends of Stone group, in which Alex Jones, Enrique Tarrio, you have Stuart Rhodes coming in, you have Steve Bannon coming in, you have, so many other voices that have been big coming in to Rudy Giuliani coming in to have sort of, their conversations about how to set up this this seditious conspiracy, what the planning is. Notice that the seditious conspiracy is this planning, okay? It is the planning, the meeting of the minds, and then doing anything to further that. Any overt act to further that conspiratorial mission. So the fact that they got the Friends of Stone group working itself is a meeting of the minds. It's almost like, okay, well, there isn't much there to prove because it's called the Friends of Stone. So I would look at, and by the way, the latest news is that the January 6th committee has subpoenaed Steve Bannon in the January 6th case. Now, Steve Bannon can pull the same contempt nonsense that he did with the Congress when he was held in contempt of Congress and then later convicted of being convicted of contempt of Congress. But now he's getting a subpoena from the DOJ. If he doesn't comply, he's arrested. So the question is how long it will take for him to comply, when he will be compelled to comply, and whether he will comply or not. I believe that Steve Bannon being subpoenaed by Jack Smith would be something that would end up amounting to an immunity deal, where he's immune from prosecution for any testimony he provides. Excuse me, dog hair happens all the time. So that's where we need to focus on, is the Friends of Stone level. Alex Jones, Steve Bannon, Tom Fitton, Jack Posobiec, Dan Bongino. These are the people who were at the level of getting the masses riled up. And the question of whether what they were doing outwardly or was also syncing with what they were doing on the inside, because Alex Jones went to the Capitol. He was at the Capitol with insurrectionists up until they breached the gates, and then him and Ali Alexander just scrammed. When they realized that it had just tipped over. It had gone from something of a protest into very much an insurrection. So, I would, at this point, keep my eyes on Jack Smith's actions. Keep my eyes on news coming out by reliable reporters like Scott McFarlane, Ryan J. Riley, Hugo Lowell, Roger Parloff, Brandy Buckman, Som Carey Johnson of NPR. So many of these reporters are reporting in near real time. Kyle Cheney of Politico, that we need to keep our eyes on these folks because they will give us the documents as soon as they're filed. And uh, another thing about the seditious conspiracy, mind you, there is an insurrection aspect of the seditious conspiracy, physical force. But the seditious conspiracy statute doesn't talk about physical force, it talks about force. So that force can amount to coercive pressure and force being applied to somebody. And that is what brings me to the second prong of the seditious conspiracy, which would be the fake elector scheme. And that is, in and of itself, shrouded in, we know the immunity deal that Scott Perry, the immunity prosecution, or I'm sorry, not prosecution, the immunity litigation that happened, and that we last heard the circuit court, the Circuit Court of Appeals last heard Scott Perry's speech or debate clause case against the DOJ in getting access to Scott Perry's phone about the fake elector, so you could get to the information about the fake elector scheme. Now it's been a month, more than a month, that this case was having oral arguments in the appellate court. So because they're sealed after that, we don't know exactly where that is. So as there are people who we forget because they are on the periphery, but Donald did it in such a manner that he buffered himself. I said for a long time that seditious conspiracy in this instance is like the Russian nesting doll of crimes, where you open one up and there's another one. And Donald Trump is the littlest little doll inside that you can't open up anymore. He is also, like I call it, a seditious turducken, and he is the roasted duck in the very middle. So it's whatever you want to say it. He's the center of the spoke of the conspiracy, and all the spokes going out of the hub. He's the hub, and all the spokes going out of the hub in a circle, in a wheel conspiracy. He's in the center. However you want to put it, there are many other people before the DOJ can get to Donald Trump unless they decide to clump them all together. So the links at this point, the seditious conspiracy has only gone after people who somehow were attached to the use of physical force. But we learned from the Stewart Rhodes trial that you don't have to be physically assaulting people or breaking in to have committed seditious conspiracy. The meeting of the minds, overt acts of being there. He was outside the Capitol, informing everybody in Friends of Stone about what was happening. And we learned from the Enrique Tarrio trial that you don't have to have been at the insurrection to be held liable for seditious conspiracy, because Enrique Tarrio wasn't at the insurrection on January 6th. He went there the day before. He wasn't allowed to be there on January 6th by court order. So we learned that you don't have to be there physically, and you don't have to use necessarily physical force, which opens a door up to what is the definition of force and whether coercion, pressure, and political pressure that Donald Trump applied to people in Congress, members of Congress like Scott Perry and Ron Johnson and whoever else he went after, whether that pressure and coercion rises to the level of seditious conspiracy. If not, it would definitely rise to the level of conspiracy to defraud the United States by conspiring to defraud the Electoral Count Act. It's a law of the United States. So I believe that Friends of Stone, I believe that there will be another, at least one or two seditious conspiracy trials. I believe that, we still haven't heard about what's happening with Eastman, John Eastman. We don't know what's happening exactly with Rudy Giuliani. I believe Rudy Giuliani testified a long time ago. So it's hard to keep track of something that is so large and to condense it. But I am trying to give you an idea of where we are and the fact that that it's not that the DOJ isn't doing anything. By the way, the DOJ concurrently is also arresting and trying and putting away foot soldiers of the insurrection. They haven't gotten to the suits yet. They haven't gotten to the ruling class criminals yet, but they are moving up. And this is, as I have mentioned many times, how there is Jack Smith is turning evidence, turning information, reliable information, into evidence. Reliable information can be hearsay, but he has to investigate, and he has to subpoena, and he has to get testimonies from people and hear their versions from their own mouths, and not just what we heard from Cassidy Hutchinson. It works for us, Sarah Matthews, Cassidy Hutchinson, Kayleigh McEnany, whoever testified, even Ivanka Trump. You could hear when they were under oath what they were saying, and that is reliable information. But if that is to be turned into evidence admissible in a court of law, it has to go through the ringer of Jack Smith going to these people saying, we want you to come and testify, getting them to willingly testify or subpoena. When we find out about these subpoenas, it's because the people who have been subpoenaed somehow leak it. DOJ doesn't leak it. So keep our eyes out for Eastman, for Jeffrey Clark, for Scott Perry, for Bannon, for the Jack Posobiec, John Bongino, Alex Jones, the Publix heiress. We're forgetting about the dark money, but the dark money pack behind, the pack, the Save America pack of Donald Trump, and any other conservative PACs that are siphoning money off of people and then pouring it into causing rebellion and insurrection and lawlessness. So the task at hand for Jack Smith is massive. It's monumental, and it's taking a lot of time, and we get impatient. But I believe that we're making progress, and I believe that I don't know if you're going to see an indictment this week. Maybe we'll see it next week, but it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So with that, I'd like to go check out. Hey, Linda. Hey, New Jersey Devil. Thank you so much for being here. Please hurry, Jack. Yeah, tell me about it, right? What are the odds Trump will actually go to prison? Doesn't he still have Secret Service protection? Can we revoke it, or if he's convicted? So, New Jersey Devil, I don't know. I'm not sure if he would actually see prison. If anything, I believe that it would be house arrest with no access to the internet or something of that sort. He would keep, obviously, Secret Service unless the DOJ decided that Marshal Service would take over. We have to understand, this is a case of first impression. This has never happened before. So when, Donald Trump is convicted, I believe he will be convicted, but, everybody's presumed innocent until proven guilty. So while I believe that he will be, convicted, there's a chance he may not be. And if he is convicted, him going to prison, I don't know if he'll be going to physical prison. It's the idea of cutting him off from the whole world and taking his freedom away. And whether that would be sufficiently accomplished by quartering him off in one of his own properties, because he's, after all, this person who has been fed with a silver spoon all his life and never been held accountable for any of his wrongdoing. So, they will talk about his age and all of that, and then probably do some sort of a house arrest. Hey, Deb, uh, thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know if today will be the day or not, but we're making progress. So, if I don't know if there are any more questions, I really appreciate everybody here. Please share, like, and subscribe this quick update so others are also aware of what's going on. So, with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Take care.